Okay, cool. Well, first thing I want to say is I posted in the forum, and those of you who are not in the forum, if you go in there, I posted last week that I'm offering 5 free 30-minute sessions for anyone who needs help with their trading. And so far, I've actually got 5 members who's booked with me. So maybe I got a couple more. So if anyone's interested, just book me in. I got a bit more time. My wife's heading to Dubai this week, and gold is actually up quite a lot. So maybe it might not be sensible to buy it, is what I told Mafila this week.
I don't think it was sensible to let her go, to be honest. You know what she's like.
Yeah, but she's going this week on Friday. So, but anyway, she will be visiting the gold market with her siblings. But I guess she's just gonna watch what they're gonna buy. But yeah, I got more time this week, so if anyone wants to catch up with me for 30 minutes to talk about anything they like, I'll check out your MyFX book if you have some stats, and give you some advice. But just to catch up, so I just thought to do something good for this Easter and give away a few free sessions for anyone who needs help. Oh, I saw one interesting article about ChatGPT because you were talking about it, Mark. And apparently, the CEO was saying that if you use please and thank you, it costs tens of millions for ChatGPT because apparently using those words, it uses more of the GPU and electricity, which I did not know. Just quite interesting fact. Um, but it was on Instagram, and there was a lot of funny comments about it. People saying, "Oh well, we need to be honorable to our future um, at technology, because it might turn on us again if you're not polite." But anyway, uh, that's the yeah. There's my link in there for the diary if you want to book. And what I posted yesterday was the Japan economic drivers. So it was a brilliant article written by one of my private students, Phil, and he did a bit of research on there. The time I did it with Mark, it was different, and things have changed over the past 5 years now. So he's kind of updated that, and it looks different to mine what I did. So it was a quite interesting read, and have a look at that if you want to understand the Japan economy. It's one of the most sensitive currencies and quite important. And as Mark mentioned, they do hold actually 1.2 trillion bonds, uh, which is the highest anyone owns as an economy. So they are basically heavily invested in the foreign markets because they're also receiving very low interest rates. So I guess that's what they're getting 4% on over there. Um, and what else was I gonna go over? So yeah, that's me done there. And if you look at the news, nothing today, but tomorrow you have the manufacturing news. So this is quite important because the PMI figures, and past couple of months, the euro has been kind of upticking on their numbers, and they have been rising a bit on the figures. Below 50 is still recessionary. I mean, they have been since 2022, they have been getting below 50. So they do need some boost in these numbers, and especially the German manufacturing numbers. It needs to rise because they are struggling for a long time. And then you have for the pound, the same thing, and then also for the US. So if I was going to take any trades, I would wait for this to come out till 9:30 and then wait for the 10 o'clock candle close and see what is going on all the charts. And then I would make a decision if there's something interesting for me to take. So wait for that to come out and then maybe have a look at the 10 o'clock candle close. That's UK time, the 4 hour candle close. And then you have German business climate. Uh, that's quite important for the euro, unemployment claims, and then you have some goods orders for the US. That this one tends to impact the dollar quite a bit. And then you have bank holiday for the New Zealand and Aussie. And I'm guessing this is for Friday. I'm not sure because of time difference, but it's showing on a Thursday here. So maybe the Aussies and New Zealanders can confirm that. And then Tokyo CPI, important for the yen. And then Friday, we don't usually trade, we just manage trades, but you have retail sales and then CAD retail sales as well. Right, let's go on to the charts. So dollar index really far away, which is making it quite tough, like Mark said, to find anything on the majors. And the only interesting majors out of the majors, the pair I saw was New Zealand USD, which was a breakout over here. And I'm basically waiting for the pullback in here, which is, I think, 120 pips away. So I put this forward order earlier when I was having a call with my private client, and it's about 100 pips away at the moment. So I'm quite comfortable with that one. It's a breakout, and we're looking for the pullback. The only thing is to note is we just have to watch the dollar index, because if you look at this, it is at all-time lows. I think 3 years ago it was over here. Um, and if there's a reversal, then or a pullback, this might not seem like a good idea too long, because then this might even go even further down. So I will be watching it closely, but for now it looks good to me on paper. So I have kept that in. And some other setups that I have, let me have a look. So dollars we see no, euro no, too high, pound is too high, dollar CAD I think was interesting over here, but this is, I would class this as a B grade just because of the stop, and it's about a 90 pip stop. I usually don't go that high. 75 is my highest. I would go on. If the risk reward is very great, then I might have a big stop, but it's rarely been the case. I think last year I probably had one trade like that. It's probably the dollar yen or something like that, or pound New Zealand. But if it comes in here, I will look on the 4 hour and then make my decision if I want to consider shorting it. Aussie CAD is interesting in here, 89.90. So basically 90 as a whole number. You have the moving averages over here, AMAs, it's all in there. I wouldn't really rely on a fib in such an erratic move down. It's quite extreme, basically. And this fib is coming in here, and that's 100 pip stop. So I would not consider that to enter here. Um, for me, the entry will be somewhere in here at 90 as a whole number, which makes a bit more sense. And the Aussie is stuck in the EMAs. New Zealand, I showed you. New Zealand CAD is basically the same as New Zealand USD. So have a look at that. It looks interesting in here, 30 pip stop to make 130 pips, which looks pretty good. But keep an eye on New Zealand USD as well, because if this keeps going down, you gotta measure it. So this is about 80 odd pips, and the New Zealand is about 100. So maybe it might try to go a little bit further and spike and then maybe go up. So keep an eye on both. I found a New Zealand USD a bit more cleaner, and New Zealand cash tends to go through EMAs sometimes. So that's why I prefer the major, which is much more, which tends to respect the EMAs much better than cross pairs. Pound New Zealand. This one, I just put a trend line on there, which looked interesting, but basically, I didn't take the trade last week because it was Friday, I think, and I saw Thursday it broke out, but then I've seen this happen many times. The last day, the Friday usually tends to close higher, and then the weekly candle looks like a wick, like that. So I usually don't take trades like this on a trend line break on a Thursday or Friday, because you can tend to have the reversal happen on the last day. So if this came in like today, for example, if it broke out, then I will consider taking the short in here for an M2 breakout pullback. It doesn't have the multiple reasons, but I will need to wait for the lower high around the pullback. So I go back to my candlesticks and bearish engulfing pattern or something like that in here to basically take the short, but that does look pretty good. And what's good about this is New Zealand has done the breakout. So if it pulls back and then tends to go up again, this is the cross pair. So if the New Zealand is strong, then the pound will go down against the New Zealand. Um, so that one is one to consider. Not yet done it, but it's a very volatile pair. So I would not advise it for beginners. If you're intermediate or experienced, then tend to consider it. Euro yen, I actually was in this morning, and then I got out on the 4-hour candle on the wick over here. So I entered it in here. Basically, I was trying to trade the range uh, just to get a quick day trade, about 100 pips, and risking about 50 in here. But then I didn't like how the candle closed on the 4-hour. I waited for the 10 o'clock candle close, and then I basically closed it at break even. And also the other confluence for me was dollar yen was coming to 140 as a big whole number and around that 200 there. And I saw that previously it reversed in there a few times. I think it was 3 or 4 times. Once here, twice, and a few times in there as well. So as you know, the yen, they're all correlated. So if the yen tends to go up, as in it's getting weaker, then all the other yens will tend to go up as well. But then, yeah, I got out of it, so didn't take a loss on that. Break even basically in here. That was my entry, but I wouldn't consider it now. I will only consider it. I'm having a watch on it on the trading view chart, but if it basically reverses in here and gives me a confirmation, then I might. But also what's putting me off about the long now is that I'm looking a short on the New Zealand JPY. So this is actually one of my favorites this week. And this is a perfect head and shoulder. And this is the right shoulder, head, left shoulder. And if this breaks there on the 4-hour, then I might consider it. Now, I would prefer a daily candle close. So if this closes below here on the daily, that will be like really good. I would class it as an A grade, although I still rate it. It's still my favorite because I haven't found many setups that look to be as good as this. But if this breaks out, then I'll look for the pullback and then look to take the short. The potential is about 140. I'm keeping my targets a bit realistic these days because last year we were just taking trades and then holding them down to the next levels. But now I'm looking at where it is reacting on the 4-hour. So I would look in here because price has reversed in there. So stop loss, I don't know just yet. If once it breaks out, I'll wait for the lower high and then my stop loss will be based on that. So I'm guessing it'll be maybe around 40, 50 pips. So that one I do like. And then dollar yen, no. So for the dollar yen, I'm not going to take the forward order over here, although we do have a weekly 200 in there. Um, just as Mark was saying, it just has one reason. And you can see here, previously it did go all the way down to this monthly 55. So I don't want to do something like that. I will only consider it if it tends to break the structure because we can see at the moment, if you look at the line chart, I do tend to use a line chart since last year. It's been very helpful for me. It's making lower highs and low lows at the moment. So I would only consider it if it breaks the structure. And right now we can see it's making low high, but if it breaks this high there, then I'll look for the pullback and then maybe a long, get a quick day trade out of it. But I'll let you know in the forum. But right now I'm just leaving it alone. But I will consider the New Zealand yen for a short if we get the breakout. And then what do we have? Euro pound as well has a head and shoulder, just as Mark shown. So I'll need this to break out the neckline over here and then consider the short. But at the moment, it's a little far away, so I need to daily candle close below. Wait for the daily candle close below this EMAs and also the neckline because there's a support there, as you can see. Because price went through the EMAs and then it reversed. So I would wait for a complete breakout over here, then a pullback. And then if you measure the neckline to the head, is about, I don't count the wick because if you look at the line chart, it actually goes up to here. The price went up the highest here. So go from here to here, 140 pips, and then the neckline is here. So 140 pips is here, but if I'm being realistic, I would probably close it in here around 100 because you have these EMAs in here. So it'd be logical to close it there. And then you can also look for a long in here. So you have two trades, the head and shoulder here, breakout, pullback, short, and then the long in here when the price comes in here. If it does, then you could look for a long, which is about a 40 pip stop to make about 100. So in both ways, you're making 100 pips. So it's about 200 pips on one single pair. So that one looks good. Pounds, we see no. I showed you how I made 100 pips on that one last week. Uh, it was a very risky trade, but I used my confirmation strategy to get on that one. So you can see on that one how I did that. And back to the charts. So EURCAD, no, it's too high. Euro Aussie is too high. And then I think I was looking at Aussie yen because someone was showing me, I see a flag pattern in there, but that has to break out over there. And then, oh yeah, what I would not consider head and shoulder is this. So this one here, this would be the left shoulder, and it was actually making the right ahead. And then I was waiting for this to see if it will make the right shoulder, but it has gone higher. So that would not be considered as a head and shoulder pattern. So just to let you know on that. Um, and this one is perfect over there. And then we have pound New Zealand. I had a quick data on my other live account on this, but it was only 100 pips. Um, this one I'm waiting for the breakout. Yes, the trend line, dollar yen, no, just waiting for a reversal to see if it does it. And then pound CAD, I am waiting for a long in here. I don't like this area that much because I only have two touches in here. I want at least three. And over here, if you look back, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 touches. So this one I rely on a bit more. So I would wait for that to come down all the way here and then look to take the entry. I didn't get it on it last week because on a Monday it just went up straight away. And if I looked back at it as well, I could not find a confirmation in here to enter the trade. So I didn't take that. Um, Pound Swiss was the only one I did on last week. And what else do I have? Right, that's all M2. I found 3 pairs on Earth and Sky, so I'm gonna go through Earth and Sky. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat box. We're already over the time, but Pound, USD, they all actually look pretty good, all these 3 setups. So, like I said, I prefer the weekly pivot to be in the Earth and Sky zone, and we just need to wait for this pullback. So, it's about 130 pips away, but an entry anywhere in here would be really good. So you can maybe go near the whole number, 132, and just above the weekly pivot, so 132.20, and then 30 pip stop, and you're making about 150 pip gain. So I would definitely consider this one as it's a major as well, and it tends to respect a little more the EMAs and weekly pivots. So I do like this one. It has a good potential, more than 1 to 3 risk reward on that. And then we have the dollar yen. So dollar yen, um, you're looking at 142.40 or anywhere in here at 142 as a round number. Stop is about 70 odd pips, and that's a one to, well, Pierre was saying he doesn't focus on weekly support one anymore. So maybe you can look at there, 180 odd pips. So that one does look good. Psychologically, this thing is annoying that is there. So I do like the pound USD at the moment. And then New Zealand CAD does look good as well, lining up on two strategies. So it does make it interesting to long 81.80. Is it where I have for 81.80? It's a bit lower, but it's around this area. So that does look good for a long there as well. And I would probably go anywhere in here because you can see there is a good level of resistance and support going on in here. So a long anywhere in here, stop loss behind all these EMAs and the weekly pivot doesn't require a big stop, 40 pip stop to make a 100 pip gain. So you're making a 1 to 2 risk reward on that one as well. So there are setups. It's just that you got to be patient. And as I showed you with some of them, I have to have that confirmation on some of them. I'm not putting just a forward order straight away on these. New Zealand USD was the only one, and I will still watch that one in case the dollar starts to reverse and do a pullback. Okay, that's me. 3 minutes gone over the time. Anything for you to end the session, Mark?
No, all good here. And we will post these later. Well, Ashley's will be posted later today, mine in the morning. And if anybody has anything you want us to cover in more detail in the next live session, then just stick a ticket into the help list so we don't forget. But as I say, the moral of the story at the minute is join the dots. If everything flips back up, what are you going to do? And going looking for trouble at the minute is not the wisest thing, so be patient and wait for it to pull back. Okay, thank you all for attending. We'll see you all next time. Catch you later. Bye-bye.